From its beginning as the Blytheville Army Airfield in 1942 to its closure as the Acre Air Force Base in 1992, one facility in northeast Arkansas played a vital part in the Cold War, the war that saved the world.
I've led a global effort to document the history of the Cold War for the past 25 years. The Cold War was this epic 50-year struggle between the United States and the Soviet Union over power, influence, and resources. It was also a struggle of ideas and ideologies, of how best to organize a modern society, our way of life. The Cold War fundamentally shaped this country's politics, culture, and institutions to this day, and it affected virtually every corner of the globe. It edged the world towards the brink of nuclear war that would have brought death and destruction on an unimaginable scale. And so in Blytheville, we have this authentic site that can bring that history to life, what it felt like to fight and survive the Cold War.
Thousands of patriotic Americans were stationed at Blytheville Air Force Base over the years as part of the 97th Bombardment Wing. Some of them endured the unimaginable in service to our country. In March of 1972, the majority of the 97th Wing's bombers, tankers, and personnel were moved to Andersen Air Force Base in Guam to support various operations in the Vietnam conflict. Among them was Robert Ceron, a B-52 navigator who flew 100 missions over Southeast Asia in 1971 and 1972. Scheduled to leave Guam to return home on December 18th, one last fateful bombing mission on December 17th ended in tragedy.
We were exactly to the second on time, and then about 15 seconds before bomb release, it opened the bomb doors. And just a few seconds after I started the stopwatch, we lost power. We lost electrics, we lost the bombing system, we lost the radar. And I'm thinking, that co-pilot just knocked the generators offline. And then the co-pilot started yelling, "They've got the pilot, they've got the pilot." I thought, what?
After a surface-to-air missile struck the plane, it went up in flames. Several crew members died, and the rest, including Colonel Ceron, ejected. Colonel Ceron landed unharmed, but unfortunately was not home free. He was captured by Vietnamese militia at gunpoint and taken to the infamous prisoner of war camp known as the Hanoi Hilton.
And here I was in the Hanoi Hilton as either the first or second B-52 crew member to be captured by any enemy anywhere, not knowing what's going to happen next. They wanted to know where I came from. And I wasn't prepared to answer that question, so I told them Arkansas, which was true, it just wasn't the most recent truth. They wanted to know if I wanted to write a letter home, and I first said it's my Geneva Convention right, which the guy went ballistic over that, yelled and screamed. But he came back in a bit with a paper and a pen and an inkwell and sat down across the table from me and said, "Now I tell you what to write." And I pushed it away and I said, "Nope. I'll write what I want to write or I won't write at all." And then he really went ballistic. Told me I would never see my family again. I was going to die.
After enduring more than 3 months of imprisonment, Colonel Ceron was freed on March 29, 1973. After the Vietnam War, he went on to become a U.S. Air Force chaplain and served as the national chaplain for several years. In 2006, he presided over the funeral of President Gerald Ford.
You don't think they, the Congolese, could do as diplomatic observers claim the West leaders have a thought to this.
Double his cares and try to prevent every possible.
For those Americans who did not experience it, it's difficult to imagine living under the constant threat of nuclear annihilation. But that was the reality of the Cold War, a time we cannot afford to forget.
Understanding the Cold War is absolutely vital for making sense of our world today. That's evident from the frequent references in the media today to a new Cold War in our relations with Russia and China. Are we facing a new Cold War? The National Cold War Center will preserve and tell the history of the Cold War from the perspective of those who lived through it, and provide a platform for the open and informed discussion of its legacies and lessons for today.
The purpose of the National Cold War Center is to create a place where these historical events will never be forgotten. The center will preserve the stories of the brave men and women who guarded the fragile peace between two powerful nations, some of whom, like Colonel Robert Surton, paid a heavy price. The project is underway with a world-class team of historians, architects, and museum designers who appreciate the significance of a national museum of this magnitude.
The chance to create architecture that supports this story is really the kind of project we live for here.
It's a great site, and it's a great story to tell, so we're excited about it all.
In working with clients at these critically important institutions, we are doing our part to preserve and celebrate the rich heritage, courage, and toughness of our country. I couldn't be more proud to help such an institution get off the ground.
There is no National Cold War Center. How can that be? We have museums and memorials on Vietnam and on Korea and the World War I and World War II and the Civil War. But this war that is the most recent, large, international war that we're seeing play out in our everyday news, and there's no national center for that. We need to dignify these histories. We need to be able to share for future generations. This is the responsibility of this community and of this committee.
The center has also received substantial contributions, including a $1 million gift from Nucor Steel Arkansas and Nucor Yamato Steel Company, a grant from the Carl B. and Florence E. King Foundation, a $400,000 grant from the Division of Arkansas Heritage Cultural Institutions Trust Fund, a $2.4 million investment from the state of Arkansas, and strong financial support from the city of Blytheville and Mississippi County. It has also been recognized with an Innovation Award and Entrepreneur Award from the Arkansas Delta Byways Tourism Association.
Tourism is the second leading industry in the state of Arkansas because it brings in money, and it brings in culture, and it brings in education. Do we want and need donations? Absolutely. Of course we do. But we want more than that from people. We want them to understand the project and to understand its significance, and we want them to be excited about it. We want them to ask us about it. We want them to join our effort. So we are very proud here in Northeast Arkansas to have the opportunity to bring such a great venue to our state.
The restoration of the Ready Alert compound has begun, and we need your help to meet our goal to break ground in fall of 2025. Learn more and spread the word to help us bring this important institution to life and honor those who served.